All right, so get this. We're diving deep today into OpenAI's brand new AI model. It's called O3.
Oh, three.
Yeah. And you know what? This isn't just like another software update.
Right.
You actually sent us this YouTube video breaking it down. It's from AI Explained.
Mhm.
Honestly, it seems like things are about to get really interesting in the AI world.
Yeah, it really does seem like OpenAI might be onto something pretty big here.
Yeah. So what do you think? Is this just like another step forward, or could this be like a total game changer?
Yeah.
Has OpenAI actually cracked the code to like a real general intelligence?
It's a good question.
Let's like break down what we saw in this video.
Yeah, so I think first we got to understand like how this whole O series, starting with O1,
Right.
is different from what came before, and it all comes down to this like really cool approach they're using called chain of thought reasoning.
Okay. Chain of thought reasoning.
Yes.
Listen, we've talked about these big language models before, but this chain of thought reasoning seems to be taking things to a whole new level.
Yeah, you're right with chain of thought reasoning. The AI doesn't just give you like an answer, it lays out all the steps that it took to get there. So it's almost like showing its work.
Oh, so instead of just like spitting out a solution, it's actually like explaining the logic behind it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so to keep the AI on the right path, OpenAI actually uses what they call a verifier model.
A verifier model.
Yeah, so think of it as like another AI.
Okay.
It's been trained on like a ton of examples of correct reasoning, and it's basically like double checking the work of that first AI.
Okay.
If the reasoning steps and the answer line up, perfectly, the whole system learns from that successful chain of thought.
Wait, so they've got like one AI fact-checking another AI.
Exactly.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
What kind of learning is that?
So that is a type of reinforcement learning
All right.
where the AI is like rewarded for the correct reasoning. And it seems like that's a big reason why O3 is performing so well.
Okay, well, speaking of performance, let's get to the part that really like blew me away, those benchmark scores.
Yeah.
O3 is just crushing it.
It is.
In like frontier math, which the video described as like notoriously difficult,
Yeah.
O3 hit a 25% accuracy rate.
That is massive.
Yeah.
And, even like professional mathematicians have a really hard time with these problems.
Right.
Previous AIs barely made a dent.
Yeah.
So 25% accuracy, that's a big jump.
Huge. And it's not just math. The video shows O3 actually going head-to-head with humans in this global coding competition on Code Forces.
I know.
And it ranked among the top 175 participants.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it is.
So like O3 was tested against real-world software engineering problems and outperformed 99.95% of the other human competitors.
Which is mind-blowing.
Yeah, that's that bench-verified benchmark showing us like what this AI can actually do.
Yes, it's that.
Insane. And then there are the graduate level science questions.
Yeah.
O3 scored an 87.7% accuracy rate, basically rendering the whole benchmark obsolete.
Yeah, they're going to have to come up with a new benchmark.
Yeah, but like the crazy thing is, they didn't even use any crazy new techniques to do it.
Yeah, that's what the video was highlighting. The main driving force behind all of this was just scaling up the reinforcement learning from the previous O1 model.
So they just like took what was already working and just like put it on steroids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That no secret ingredients, just like good old-fashioned improvement.
So what does that mean for like the future of benchmarks? If just scaling up is all it takes to overcome them.
It's a big question, and it's something that like researchers are dealing with right now.
Yeah.
If we can design a benchmark, it seems like this O series can beat it.
Yeah, so it's like, what does this actually mean for us?
Yeah.
How might AI tackling these super complex tasks impact our work, our lives?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's scary, but also cool at the same time.
That's the thing, right? It's not just about the numbers and the scores. We have to ask ourselves, is O3 really reasoning its way through these problems? Or is it just like a master of pattern recognition?
Well, yeah, that's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
Where's the line between complex pattern matching and true understanding?
Right.
The video talked about this concept of compositionality,
Okay.
where AI has trouble combining like different pieces of information in a flexible and intelligent way. And O3 still has some limitations there.
Okay, so break down compositionality for me.
Okay, so think of it like this. Imagine a sentence like, the trophy doesn't fit into the brown suitcase because it's too small.
Okay.
Now, we know that it refers to the suitcase.
Right.
But for AI, figuring out those references, especially in like longer chains of reasoning, it can be really difficult.
So you're saying that O3 might be able to solve super complex math problems,
Yeah.
but like struggle to understand a simple relationship between like objects or ideas?
Yeah, there's some evidence for that.
Really?
The video mentioned this benchmark Symbol Bench, which focuses on spatial reasoning,
Okay.
where O3 actually like underperforms
Mm.
tasks that need an understanding of like physical space and social situations seem to be trickier.
So this super intelligent AI that can like write code like a pro
Yeah.
might not understand how a glove would fall off a bike.
Exactly. And it just goes to show that even with these big advances, AI development is still a work in progress.
Right.
We've still got a lot to figure out.
For sure. And all of this progress, like, it comes at a cost, right?
It
I
does.
remember that video mentioning that, like, hitting those high scores, especially on the ARC AGI benchmark, actually cost OpenAI like a fortune in computing power.
How much are we talking?
Something like $350,000?
$350,000.
Yeah, for a single benchmark.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that just goes to show there's a big trade-off,
Sure.
between like pushing the AI performance and like the resources you need to get there.
Yeah, so do you think this cost is going to be like a major roadblock for future AI development, or will that change as technology gets better?
Well, historically, the cost of like computing power has gone down over time.
Right.
What's expensive today might be like totally normal tomorrow.
Yeah.
But the demands of like AI research are also increasing.
Right. So it's like a
It's a balancing act.
Yeah, as the technology evolves, so do the resources that are needed to push it forward. Exactly. Okay, all right, let's talk about the big question that everyone's asking.
Yeah.
Is O3 actually AGI?
A million-dollar question.
Artificial General Intelligence?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
has OpenAI cracked the code?
I mean, it's a big debate right now.
Yeah.
There are experts out there that think O3 is really impressive, but it's still not true AGI.
Mm,
There are other benchmarks, even tougher ones, that humans can handle easily, but O3 is still struggling with.
so it's not just about being good at specific tasks. It's about being able to solve, like, really wide range of problems.
Exactly. But then what's the criteria for true AGI?
Yeah.
It's a concept that's like constantly changing, especially with like these advancements like O3. What do you think, what would your definition of true AGI be?
That's a question we could probably spend hours on.
Right.
But I think we need to talk about something else that the video brought up.
Yeah.
The safety factor.
Right.
As AI gets more powerful, the stakes get higher.
Right. Definitely, the video actually mentions OpenAI's research into this deliberative alignment and scalable oversight, which are all about making sure that these powerful AI systems are used safely and ethically.
Okay, break that down a bit more for me.
Mhm.
What do those actually mean?
Okay, so deliberative alignment is about making sure that the AI's goals are aligned with like human values.
Good.
It's about designing systems that are like fundamentally good for humanity.
Fine.
And then scalable oversight is about how we can actually control these systems as they get more complex and powerful.
So it's like building in like safeguards from the ground up,
Yes.
and then also figuring out how to keep things in check
Yes.
as AI gets more and more advanced.
You got it.
That seems super crucial, especially with something as powerful as O3.
It is. And it really makes us think about some pretty big questions about like, the nature of intelligence and consciousness and even like what it means to be human
Right.
in a world where AI is playing a bigger and bigger role.
Yeah, it really does feel like we're on the edge of something huge here. Yeah. But before we get too philosophical, there was one detail from the video that I thought was pretty shocking.
What's that?
Apparently, some of the OpenAI developers weren't even supposed to talk about how much it costs to get those crazy benchmark scores,
Oh, really?
but they spilled the beans.
They did.
Yeah.
But, it's important to be transparent, especially when you're dealing with something as potentially disruptive as like AI.
Right.
OpenAI did admit that, to get those results with O3, it took a ton of computing power.
$350,000 worth
Yeah.
for just one benchmark.
For one benchmark.
Yeah, that raises some serious questions about accessibility.
Yeah.
Is this level of advancement only going to be available to, like, companies with super deep pockets?
That's a really good question.
Mhm.
And, while the cost of computing has gone down, the resources needed for, cutting edge AI are still substantial.
It's like a crossroads.
Yeah.
Not just in terms of the technology,
Yeah.
but like who gets to use it and
It's
how it's ultimately used.
That's a great point.
It's a big question.
It is.
All right, so let's dive back into O3 and like its specific capabilities. You mentioned earlier that this chain of thought reasoning process is like a key part of how it actually works.
Yeah.
Can you like explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so Essentially, it means that, like, instead of just giving an answer,
Yeah.
O3 can actually generate a step-by-step explanation
Okay.
of how it got to that answer.
Hmm.
So it's like showing its work.
Oh, so it's like we're getting to see inside the AI's thought process.
You got it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder,
Yeah.
if an AI can reason its way through these complex problems,
Hmm.
is it thinking in a way that's, like, comparable to humans?
Now, that's a question philosophers have been debating for centuries.
I know.
But even with this incredible reasoning ability, O3 still has some limitations.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to spatial reasoning and understanding like social situations.
Right, remember that example about the glove falling off the bike?
Oh, yeah.
That was a good one. So we could have an AI that can, like, ace a calculus exam,
Yeah,
but it doesn't understand why you need an umbrella when it's raining.
it's true.
It's kind of funny to think about.
It is, and it really shows how important context and real-world experience are.
Yeah.
Something that like current AI systems still struggle with.
Yeah, the video also talked about OpenAI's efforts to make sure that these AI systems, as they get more powerful, are used safely and ethically.
Right.
They mentioned deliberative alignment and scalable oversight.
Right.
Can you remind us what those are all about?
Yeah, so deliberative alignment focuses on making sure that the AI's goals are actually aligned with human values.
Okay.
It's about designing AI systems that are, good for humanity.
Right.
And then scalable oversight is about, how do we effectively monitor and control these systems even as they become more advanced?
So it's like building in safeguards from the ground up,
Yeah.
but also figuring out how to keep things under control
Yes.
as AI gets more sophisticated.
Yes.
Exactly.
It's like we're trying to anticipate the risks before they become problems,
Yes.
like something out of a movie.
Yeah, it's like a science fiction scenario playing out in real life.
Yeah, it really is. It's a fascinating time to be alive, that's for sure.
It is.
We're witnessing a tech revolution that has the potential to, like, totally change the world
Yeah.
in ways that we can't even really imagine yet.
It's true.
And speaking of changing the world, one of the things that really struck me in the video was this idea that O3 could, like, revolutionize scientific research.
Yeah.
The potential for breakthroughs in all these different fields is pretty incredible.
It is. Like, imagine AI working with scientists and engineers, analyzing all this data,
Yeah.
identifying patterns and suggesting new ways to do things.
Yeah.
It could change the way we approach everything,
It's true.
from medicine to engineering to art and music.
The possibilities are mind-blowing.
They are.
But it also makes you wonder, like, what's going to happen to jobs
Yeah.
and the role of humans in a world where AI might be able to do all this stuff better than we can?
Yeah. That's a great point.
It's a big question.
It is, and maybe we'll explore that further in another episode.
I think we should.
I agree.
But for now, let's get back to O3 and its specific capabilities.
Yeah.
The video highlighted a benchmark called ArcAGI that was specifically designed to test for, like, true artificial general intelligence.
Yeah.
And apparently O3 did really well on it.
Yeah, ArcAGI is really interesting.
Yeah.
It's not just about knowledge or processing power.
Okay.
It's about like the ability to reason, to adapt to new situations,
Yeah.
and to solve problems in a way that's like beyond just following instructions.
Like actually thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. And O3 scored 88% on this benchmark.
88%, which is incredible.
That's really impressive.
It is.
But the video also mentioned that there's, like, a lot of debate about whether that actually means it's truly AGI.
Right. Some experts, and this includes the person who created ArcAGI, argue that while O3 is really capable, it still relies on like a ton of data and a ton of computing power
Yeah.
to get those results.
So it's like the difference between memorizing a textbook
Right.
and actually understanding it.
Exactly. And they also point out that there are still tasks that seem easy for us.
Right.
Like understanding basic physics or like social cues
Right.
that O3 still has a hard time with.
So it's not perfect.
No, it's not perfect.
It's a really interesting discussion, and there doesn't seem to be an easy answer to the question of whether O3 is truly AGI.
Yeah, it's a really nuanced discussion.
Yeah.
And it seems like the experts are divided.
Yeah, and this whole discussion about AGI and, like, all the crazy things that O3 can do, it brings up some really important ethical questions.
It does.
We talked earlier about OpenAI's research into deliberative alignment and scalable oversight,
Yes.
which are basically about making sure that these incredibly powerful AI systems are used safely and ethically.
Right, because as they become more powerful,
Right?
It's really important to make sure that their goals align with human values,
Yeah.
that they're designed to be beneficial and not harmful.
And that we have like ways to actually control them.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
almost like we're
Yeah.
trying to prevent problems before they even happen.
Yeah, it's like we're trying to write the rules for a game that's constantly changing.
Yeah, and the players are getting more powerful every day.
Exactly, and it's a game that requires, collaboration and transparency and a really deep understanding of both the good things and the bad things that AI can do.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Well said. All right, so before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to touch on something that really stuck with me from the video.
Okay.
They mentioned that some of those OpenAI researchers actually weren't supposed to reveal the cost of getting those incredible benchmark scores,
Oh, right.
but they spilled the beans anyway.
They did. And, transparency is super important,
It is.
especially in a field like AI where, we're talking about advancements that can really change our world.
Yeah, and knowing that it cost them $350,000 in computing power for just one benchmark really puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
Like it underscores the fact that cutting-edge AI research is expensive,
It is.
and it raises questions about who can actually access this technology.
Yeah, will these advancements be available to everyone or just to, big corporations and governments?
It's a crucial question that we need to think about as a
I
society.
agree.
We need to make sure that the benefits of AI are available to everyone,
Yes.
and that these technologies are used to help everyone, not just a select few.
That's a really important point.
It's a reminder that technological progress always has these social and ethical implications that we have to grapple with.
Yeah, we can't just focus on the technology itself. We need to think about the bigger picture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the next part of our deep dive, where we'll explore some of the other fascinating aspects of O3 and what it means for the future.
Sounds good.
I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on what we've discussed so far.
Yeah, me too. This is a really exciting topic.
It is, and I think it's only going to get more interesting from here.
I agree. It's true. This AI stuff is moving so fast. It feels like every day there's some new breakthrough or some new challenge to think about.
Yeah, and O3 is a great example of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so speaking of O3's capabilities, one thing the video pointed out was their approach to safety.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, OpenAI is actually using those same chain of thought techniques
Mm-hmm.
to train AI models to be better at refusing harmful requests.
Well, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so it sounds like they're trying to teach the AI to recognize and avoid potentially harmful actions, almost like giving it a moral compass.
Right, like building in those safeguards from the start.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the researchers in the video even said, as AI gets closer to surpassing top human intelligence in certain areas, the research into AI safety becomes even more important.
Yeah, it's like we're in a race to make sure these advancements are used for good and don't backfire on us in some way. All right, well, before we get too deep into the ethics of it all, I do want to circle back to something we talked about earlier.
Right.
The cost of development.
Oh, yeah.
That $350,000 price tag for just one benchmark,
Right.
it's mind-blowing.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, so do you think this cost is going to be a major obstacle for future AI development? Or will we see that change as technology improves?
Well, historically, the cost of computing power has gone down over time.
Right.
But at the same time, the demands of AI research are also increasing.
So it's a tough question.
Yeah, it's kind of a balancing act,
Yeah, as the technology evolves,
Mm,
we need even more powerful computers to keep pushing it forward.
exactly.
Okay, so that brings up another question. Will these advancements be available to everyone?
Yeah.
Or will they just be in the hands of big companies and organizations that have tons of money?
Right. It's like, will there be an AI divide where only certain groups have access to the best tools?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's something we need to think about as a society.
Yeah, we need to make sure that everyone benefits from AI.
And that it doesn't just make the gap between the rich and the poor even bigger.
Right. It's not just about the technology. It's about how it's used.
It's about fairness and equity.
Exactly.
Okay, so I think it's time to dive a little deeper into that idea of chain of thought reasoning.
Yeah,
It seems like that's a big part of what makes O3 so powerful.
definitely. Instead of just giving you an answer,
Right.
O3 can break down the steps it took to get to that answer. So it's like it's showing its work.
So we can actually see how it's thinking.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It is, and it makes you wonder, is this really intelligence?
Right.
Is it thinking the same way we do?
It's a tough question to answer.
It is. Philosophers have been debating this stuff for centuries.
Exactly. But it's a question that's becoming more and more relevant as AI gets better.
Okay, so even with this incredible reasoning ability, the video did point out that O3 still has some limitations,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to spatial reasoning and understanding social situations.
Right. It's like that example with the glove and the bike.
Yeah.
O3 might be able to write code,
Right.
but it doesn't necessarily understand how things work in the real world.
It's like it can solve complex equations,
Yeah.
but it doesn't know why you wouldn't wear a swimsuit in the snow.
Exactly. It's missing that common sense that humans have.
So it's good to remember that even with all this excitement about O3 AI, it's still a work in progress.
Absolutely. There's still a long way to go.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so the video also talked about OpenAI's work on making sure these AI systems are used safely and ethically.
Right. They talked about deliberative alignment and scalable oversight.
Yeah, can you remind us again what those are all about?
Yeah, so deliberative alignment is about making sure that the AI's goals are aligned with human values, you know?
Okay,
It's about making sure that they're designed to be good for us.
so it's like making sure the AI is on our team
Yeah, exactly.
and not trying to take over the world or something.
Right. And then scalable oversight is about figuring out how to control these systems as they get more powerful.
So it's about making sure we have the tools to keep AI in check,
Exactly.
even as it becomes more advanced.
Yeah, it's like we're trying to write the rules for a game that's constantly changing.
And the players are getting stronger and smarter all the time.
That's a good analogy. It's a challenge, but it's a challenge we need to face.
For sure. Okay,
Yeah.
so before we move on to the next section,
Mhm.
I want to bring up something that I found really interesting in the video.
What's that?
They mentioned that some of the OpenAI researchers actually weren't supposed to talk about how much it cost to get those amazing benchmark scores,
Oh, yeah.
but they spilled the beans.
They did.
It kind of makes you wonder what else they might be keeping quiet.
Yeah. It's a little concerning.
It is, because transparency is so important in a field like this.
It is, especially when we're talking about technologies that have the potential to change the world.
Yeah, and knowing that it costs OpenAI $350,000 for just one benchmark, it really makes you think.
It does. It shows just how expensive and resource intensive this kind of research is.
Yeah, and it raises those questions about who has access to this technology.
Right. Is it just going to be the big tech companies and governments?
Or will regular people be able to benefit from it too?
It's a really important question, and it's one we need to start thinking about now.
Because once these technologies are out there,
Yeah,
it might be too late to control them.
exactly. We need to make sure AI is used to help everyone, not just a select few.
It's about making sure AI is a force for good in the world.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's move on to the next section, where we'll explore some more of the implications of O3 and what it could mean for the future of AI.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it really feels like we're at this turning point,
Yeah.
AI is changing so fast, it's both exciting and kind of scary at the same time.
Right. Like we have all this potential, but we need to be really careful about how we develop and use this technology.
Exactly. And one thing that I keep thinking about is this whole debate about whether O3 is actually AGI.
Mm-hmm.
It's clearly super powerful, but is it really like a true general intelligence?
Yeah. It's a really tough question, and honestly, I don't think there's a simple answer.
Right.
The definition of AGI could change, as AI keeps getting better.
Right. Like what we consider groundbreaking today might be totally normal in a couple of years.
Exactly. We're still in the early stages of AI development. We're just starting to figure out what's possible.
It's true, and it's a good reminder to not get too carried away with the hype.
All right. We need to stay grounded and remember that there's still so much we don't know.
Yeah, for sure. So speaking of learning, one thing that really stuck with me from the video was how quickly O3 could learn new things.
Yeah.
They talked about this thing called meta learning.
Right. Learning to learn.
Yeah, so it's like instead of having to program the AI for every single new task, it can actually learn and adapt on its own, like humans do.
Exactly. And O3 did really well on that benchmark that was designed to test for meta learning.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
It was.
Yeah.
It shows that we might be getting closer to AI systems that are really flexible learners,
Yeah, that can adapt to all kinds of new situations.
Exactly.
That's exciting, but also a little bit intimidating.
I know. It's like we're creating something that's almost like a new form of life.
It is a little bit like that.
Yeah.
And with all this talk about AI's potential,
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember the safety factor.
Right.
As these systems get more powerful, we need to make sure that they're aligned with human values and that we can control them.
Absolutely. The video talked about OpenAI's work on deliberative alignment and scalable oversight.
Can you remind us what those are all about?
Yeah, so deliberative alignment is about making sure that AI is designed to be beneficial to humanity.
Okay, so it's like making sure AI is on our side
Right, exactly.
and not going to turn against us or something.
Right, and then scalable oversight is about figuring out how to actually monitor and control these systems.
As they get more powerful.
Right, because it's one thing to control an AI that can play chess,
Yeah,
but it's a whole other thing to control an AI that can control like a power grid or a transportation system.
that's a really good point.
So we need to be thinking about these things now before it's too late.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
like we're walking this tightrope,
Mm-hmm.
between the potential benefits of AI
Yeah.
and the potential risks.
It's a balancing act.
It is.
Ah.
And I think the only way to navigate this is through open and honest communication.
Yeah, we need to talk about these issues,
Mhm.
share our concerns,
Right.
and work together to make sure that AI is used for good.
Absolutely.
Mm,
And that's where you, our listeners, come in.
that's right. We want to hear from you. What do you think about O3 and the future of AI?
What excites you? What scares you?
Yeah, what questions do you have?
Head over to social media and join the conversation. Let's keep exploring this fascinating and rapidly changing field together.
Yeah, because this is a journey we're all on, and it's going to have a huge impact on our world.
Yeah.
So let's make sure we're shaping it in a way that benefits everyone.
Well said. I think that's a great place to leave it. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into O3 and the future of AI.
Yeah, this was a great discussion.
Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and let's build a future where AI helps us all thrive.
I like that.